Hey guys, Bombardier Customs here. What we're going to do tonight is replace my carburetor intake manifold, the little rubber part that goes between your carb and your engine. What I noticed is last time we were out four-wheeling with the bike, it was starting to sputter and was having a hard time accelerating, and it was backfiring quite a bit. And when I got the bike home, I was having a real hard time getting it started without using a full choke. So this is an 03 Bombardier Quest 650, so I'll show you what's wrong with her. Alright, so I've done a video recently on this, actually replacing the carburetor with a new one. But let's see if we can get under here. And you can see the big crack in the rubber boot that goes between the carb and the engine. What's happening is it's sucking in way too much air, and if it backfires, you're actually seeing flames come out that. So we got to swap that out. Alright, so I got this off Amazon. It was roughly $30 Canadian. So there's lots of different brands out there. This is one IPZ or whatnot. And there's the new part. This is the side that goes against the engine, and your carb goes in this end, and you tighten down the hose clamp here, and then there's a tube you got to put on here. So it's quite a simple process to swap out there. So if you want to check out my playlist, I actually did a video on swapping out a carburetor, so I don't want to get into too great a detail on explaining how to take this apart if we have to. So if you want to check out that playlist. But what we're going to do first is undo the hose clamps, or loosen them up quite a bit. So there's the front and back hose clamp. I'm just going to take off the cover to the air box because I want to be able to pull this off so it disconnects the rubber flange that connects to your air breather to the back of the carburetor, so it gives us a little room to play. That way we can shift the carb back so we can swap out the rubber flange in the front. So once that's loose, we should be able to pull the carb towards the back of the bike. A little bit looser. Alright, so what I did is I took the air filter off. That way I can actually shift the carb back a little bit to give me a little more room. So in here you can see that bolt right there. There's one there, and there's one right there. You can just barely see it right there. So we need to take those out, and I'm going to try my best to get a socket in there. And again, you can see how large that rip is there in the rubber boot there. All right, so there's the old one. There's the new one. You just want to make sure everything's similar. You can see how large of a crack that was in it. Some people repair these, spend the $30, $40 and just buy a brand new one, then you don't have to worry about it. But you want to make sure everything's the same size before you reinstall it. The bolts are a little bit of a bugger to get out when you don't actually remove the whole carburetor. It is a little easier to get to with the carb taken off, but this will save a step from having to disconnect everything. So we're going to reinstall this, but you want to make sure the surface where this meets up against the engine is nice and clean. And you're also going to have to reconnect your hose that I had to take off here. And then we'll get her all back together. So next step, we're going to clean off the surface on the motor, and then we're going to bolt this on. I'm not going to bore you with that step because it's a little time consuming trying to get it tightened down, but it's pretty straightforward. Just putting this on, putting the 2 bolts in. All right, so just before I actually bolt this down, I just want to show you the surface. So this boot here is going to go up against there, so you're going to have 1 bolt there, and there's going to be 1 bolt on the other side. A little hard to see here, not a whole lot of room to work, but there you go. So that's where I'm bolting it down to. All right, so we got her all installed there and tightened down. So the next step is we're going to slide the front of the carb on to the boot, and then the back, and then we're going to tighten down the hose clamps. All right, so the air filter's all hooked back up, and the front and rear hose clamps are all nice and tight, and the carb's in there nice and snug. So let's fire it up. And there we go. That's quite a simple install. It's a little tight quarters with the carb still hooked up, but anybody can do it with some basic hand tools. Just takes a little bit of patience. It takes probably 10 to 15 minutes to do in total. One thing again, the bike was running really rough. It was backfiring. When I popped the seat off and I revved it up, actually I was getting a little bit of flame coming from that rubber boot there. What's happening is the engine's getting way too much air and it's causing it to backfire. Not to mention it can also score your pistons. So anyways, guys, it's a simple thing to replace. Again, just takes a little bit of patience. Anybody can do this. You know, on a skill level from 1 to 10, this is probably 3 or 4, just because you got to frig around with the carb a little bit to kind of get her out of the way, but it's simple to do. And I would certainly replace it rather than repair that, you know, for the small price of, again, it was just around 30 some dollars Canadian delivered. So hope you find this video helpful. Again, I've got quite a playlist on my 03 Bombardier Quest 650. I'll be doing lots more videos in the upcoming future, as well as more wheeling videos if people are interested in that. If you have any tips, suggestions, comments, or whatnot, make sure you post them below. If not, I appreciate you watching. And make sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell notification. Take care.